In a country far away, a young prince lived happily in the wonderful palace of Sans-Souci. Nothing sounds come through the door of the palace. Every day he plays with his friends in the palace garden. Every night he laughs and sings with his friends in the biggest room in the palace, and everything there is beautiful. But what about the other people in the country? The prince doesn't know about them. He never leaves the palace or its garden. So he never thinks about other people, and he never asks any question to learn about them. Everyone on the palace calls him the Happy Prince, and when he dies, he makes a statue for him. The statue for the Happy Prince stands on a tall column over the city. He has gold and all over him from head to foot. His eyes are two sapphires, and there is a big red ruby in his sword. All the people in the town love him. He's very beautiful, says one of the town councillors, but he can't do very much. A year later that year, in the country far from the city, a little bird, a swallow, meets a reed by the river. The reed is a tall and a beautiful, and the swallow likes her at once. The other swallows laugh and see him and his love, the reed, but the swallow doesn't listen to his friends. He likes his summer love story.
When in the summer finished, the other swallow flew all the way to Egypt. They leave the shadow with his love. After 6 weeks with only the reed to talk to, he isn't very excited be here anymore. So the swallow says sadly, "All right, isn't going to Egypt without you. Goodbye." And he flies away.
All through the day the swallow flies, and at night he arrives in the big city. Where can I stay here? Where can I find a bed to sleep in? He thinks, and then he sees the statue of the Happy Prince on its tall column. I can't stay here, he says. From here I can look down at the town and up at the open sky too. So he sits between the feet of the Happy Prince, and he looks about him. Tonight I have beautiful gold room to stay in, he says quietly, and then he begins to go to sleep. Suddenly a big drop of water falls on him. Soon after that, a second drop hits him on the head too. That's strange. It's raining. Reeds like the rain, but not swallows, he says. I must find a better bed to sleep in. This statue isn't any good in the rain. But wait a minute. The sky is clear. I can't understand it.
Just then, when the swallow is opening his wings to fly away, a third drop of water falls on him. The little bird quickly looks up, and what does he see? He sees the side eyes of the Happy Prince. Tears are running down the statue gold face, and falling down the swallows at his feet. The Happy Prince is crying. His face looks very sad and beautiful, and the little bird feels very sorry for him. "Who are you?" asked the swallow. "I'm the Happy Prince," the statue answered. "Then why are you crying on me?" asked the bird. "My name comes from happier times," says the statue, and he tells the swallow all about those past days in the place of Sans-Souci. "But now I'm dead, and I'm standing up here. I have only a little hair now, but I must cry because from here I can see all the poor people and all the ugly things in my city." So the statue isn't all good, thinks the swallow, but he's a bird from a good family, and so he says nothing to the prince about it. Then the statue says quietly, "Far away there's a poor house in a little street. Near the open window sits a tired woman at table. She's working, and her son don't stop moving. She's making an evening dress for one of the young ladies at the palace. It's half beautiful, red flower on it. In a little bed across the room from here, her son lies ill with a fever. He asked for something nice and cold to drink, but his mother can wipe him only river water, and so he don't know the well. Swallow, swallow. Please pull the ruby from my sword and take it to her. My fate can never leave this column, so I cannot move from here. But my friends, the other swallow, are waiting for me. At this time of the year, they fly up and down the Nile from Cairo, and tell to Egyptian waterflower tears. I must fly away, to be with them, sighed the little swallow.
Swallow, little swallow, please stay with me for only one night, says the statue. You can help me. That poor boy is very thirsty, and his mother is very sad. I don't like boys very much, says the swallow. They like hitting birds with the stones. I remember last summer, two bad boys down at the river. The happy prince looks sadly at the swallow. The little birds feel sorry for him. He doesn't like saying no to people. But I can fly fast. After all, it's very cold here now. But yes, I can stay with you for one night and help you. Thank you, little swallow, says the prince. So the swallow takes the ruby from the prince's sword. He flies across the city with the expensive red stone in his mouth. When he flies past the palace, he sees a beautiful young lady. He's standing at an open window, and a young man is standing next to her. The little swallow flies across the river. He flies over little old shops and past big ships to the poor house in the little street with the boy and his mother in it. The mother is sleeping in her chair when he arrives. The boy's head is hot with fever, and he cannot sleep. The little bird flies into the room and puts the big ruby on the table near the woman's head. Then he flies round the bed. He makes the boy's head cool with his wings and starts sleeping. When the boy goes to sleep, the swallow flies back to the happy prince. It's strange, he says. It's a cool night, but I feel very warm now. That happens when you do something good to help someone, says the prince. The little swallow thinks a lot about this. Then he feels tired and he goes to sleep. He always feels tired when he thinks a lot. The next day, early in the morning, the swallow flies down to the river for a bath. Tonight I'm going to Egypt, he thinks happily. When night comes, the little swallow flies back to the happy prince. What do you want from Egypt? He asks. I'm leaving now. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, says the prince. Please stay with me one night more. But my friends, the other swallows, are waiting for me. Tomorrow they fly up the river Nile to Luxor. Swallow, swallow. Far away, across the city, I see a poor young man. He's working at the table in a little attic room. He's writing a play for the theater. He has some damn flower next to him. His hair is brown, his mouth is red, and there are wonderful dreams in his big brown eyes. But he's very cold and hungry, and he can't think or write anymore. I can't wait one more night, says the swallow, because he has a good heart. Shall I take him a ruby too? Sadly, I have no more rubies, says the prince. Now I have only the sapphires in my eyes. They
from India. Pull out one of them and take it quietly to that poor young man. Then he can sell it for some good things to eat and some warm things to wear. And, after all, he can finish his play.
That means I can do that, cried the swallow, 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 little swallow. Some moods, sighed the prince.
So the swallow takes out one of the prince's blue eyes. He flies with his mouth to the little attic room. The young man is tired and he has his head in his hands on the table when the little bird arrives. He does not hear the swallow's wings. The little bird leaves the sapphire on the table near the flowers, and the flies away. Suddenly the young man looks up and sees the expensive blue stone. "What's this?" he cries happily. "Someone likes my work a lot. Now I can finish my play." The next day the little swallow flies down to the sea. First, he watches a big ship arrive from a far country. Then he sees people come from the city and takes the things from it. "I'm going to Egypt," cries the swallow, but nobody listens to him. When the night comes, he flies to the happy prince. "I'm here to say goodbye," he says. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow. Please stay with me one night more," says the prince. "It's cold here and the snow is coming, but Egypt is warm and the sun is hot and yellow in the blue sky. My prince, I must leave you, but I can't forget you. And when I come back next year, I can bring you a ruby and a sea blue sapphire. I want to give you back your missing eye and the expensive red stone for your sword," says the swallow. But the prince says quietly, "In the town square, under us, there's a poor little girl. She's selling matches, but her matches are all on the street under her feet, and she can't sell them now. Nobody wants to buy matches with water on them. Her father's at home. He's waiting for her, but he always angry with her, and he hits her when she comes home with no money for him. She's crying, she has no shoes on her feet and no hat on her head. Pull on my other eye and take it out of her." "I can wait one more night, but I can't pull out your other eye," cries the swallow.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow, sighed the prince. Some moods, do this for me.
In the end, the swallow pulls out the prince's other eye and takes it in his mouth down to the town square. The little girl is standing there and crying. He flies past her hand. She looks at the beautiful blue stone carefully. "That's nice," she happily, and then she runs off home with it. Then the little bird flies back to the prince. "You are blind now, and so I must stay with you always," he says. "No, little swallow," answers the poor prince. "You must fly away to Egypt and the sun." "I'm staying with you now," she swallow says. That night he sleeps at the prince's feet. The next day the swallow sits on the prince's shoulder and tells him stories of Egypt. He speaks of the river Nile, the little towns and important cities. "My little swallow," says the prince, "you tell me all these things about Egypt, but truly I want to know more about the people here in my city. Fly out over the town, little swallow, and look down. What do you see there? When you finish, come back and tell me everything." So the little bird flies out over the big city and sees the lives of all the people there. He sees big expensive houses with poor beggars and their doors. He comes back and tells the prince about hungry children with white faces in the dark streets, and poor people. Perhaps it can make them happy. So, leaf by leaf, the swallow takes the gold from the statue. Now the happy prince looks old and gray. The little bird takes the gold leaf to the poor people. With it they can buy things to eat and things to wear. The children look better, their faces are redder and fatter, and they laugh and play in the street. We have bread to eat now, they cry happily. Then the first snow falls, and the city streets are white with it, and very cold, and he moves his wings a lot to stay warm. But it's no good. Slowly he begins to feel colder and colder.
The little swallow is dying from the cold, and he knows it. It isn't easy from him, but he flies up and sits on the prince's shoulder for the last time. "Goodbye, my prince," he says quietly. "Can I kiss your hand?" "Oh, good. You're going to Egypt." The little swallow. "I'm happy about that," says the prince. "It's wrong of you to wait here anymore. But kiss me on the mouth before you go." "I'm not going to Egypt," replies the swallow. "I'm going to the house of the brother of sleep. I'm dying, you see." Then the little bird kissed the happy prince on the mouth, and at once he falls down dead at Statue's feet. Suddenly, there's a strange crack from the statue. The prince's little heart breaks in two. It's truly a very cold winter that year. Early the next morning, the mayor and the town councillors are walking in the town square. They walk past the happy prince column, and the mayor looks up at the statue on it. "Oh dear, what ugly gray things our prince is these," he cries. "Yes, very ugly," says the town councillors. They always say everything again after the mayor says. All of them go nearer to the statue and look at it carefully. Because the statue isn't beautiful now, they take it away. "That's strange," says one of the furnace workers. "This little heart with a crack, it doesn't melt. We must throw it away."
Soon after that go, speak one of his angels. "Bring mighty two most important things in the city," he says. The angel flies down to the rubbish heap. It finds the little heart with the crack in it, and the dead swallow tear. "You're right," says God, "because now this little bird can sing happily in my garden forever, and the happy prince can live in my city of gold forever too."